The inability to throw strikes from Trent Thornton and Tim Mayza seemed to be the deciding factor in this one as the Jays drop 5-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies and drop now to 20-17 on the season. I think I speak for every Jays fan when I say, can we go back and play Atlanta again, please? No, honestly, today's game, the offense was nowhere to be found. Steven Matz gave you a great start. And in the top half of the seventh inning, Thornton and Mayza just couldn't throw strikes. And that was the deciding factor when you give a team like Philly with some great hitters in that lineup, especially the area they were walking in that lineup. It's a disaster waiting to happen. But let's break this ball game down. As I mentioned, Steven Matz got the start for the Blue Jays, Vince Velasquez for the Philadelphia Phillies, and Matz was great. Like, the pitch count was up. The umpire was completely blind a couple times, really putting up the pitch count a little bit. But either way, Steven Matz gives you a great 5 innings. But your offense hasn't gotten anywhere, and it's a 0-0 game after 5. You go to the bottom half of the 6th inning, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. crushes the ball to right field. It's deep and gone for Vladdy. A solo bomb for him, giving the Jays the 1-0 lead in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And at that point, myself and probably a lot of Jays fans were thinking, man, the way this game is going, that might be the only run. But as I always say, after your team scores a run or takes a lead or ties a game, you always want to put up a 0 in the next half inning. Well, we go to that top half of the 7th. And as I mentioned, Trent Thornton could not throw strikes. He walked the number 8 hitter to start the inning. That in a nutshell is a disaster waiting to happen. He strikes out the next guy, which is great. But then he walks guys, right? Then he walks Gene Segura, putting 2 on. And he walks Bryce Harper. And now the bases are loaded. Or no, sorry, I think they brought in Mayza to face Bryce Harper. I don't know who faced what. But either way, they don't get a single hit. And they walked the bases loaded. I think Mayza came on to face Harper. He walks him. Then he faces JT Realmuto, gets ahead of the guy 0-2. Throws 2. Look, when you're up 0-2, you got to make some quality pitches. Well, James, the bullpen's been... I understand the bullpen's been used a lot. I get it. But when you're up 0-2 with the bases loaded and 2 out in a 1-0 ball game, you got to execute some pitches. 1 ball in the dirt, that's fine. See if he can chase it. If not, it's okay. It's a 1-2 count still. But Tim Mayza spikes 2. And I'm thinking to myself, man, you just had the guy 0-2, and you just wasted 2 pitches. JT Realmuto is one of the best hitting catchers in baseball. The fact that you just basically brought him back into the count yourself, you're just asking for a disaster. Then he runs the count full. Then he throws an off-speed pitch down, and Realmuto check swing obviously does not go. And you walk in a tying run to tie the game at 1. 4 walks. Not a single hit scored that first run by the Philadelphia Phillies. But as I mentioned, you give a team like that many opportunities, they will make you pay. And Rhys Hoskins comes up and crushes a bases-clearing double to give them a 4-1 lead. Then Alec Bohm, either way, I'm going to go Bohm, hits an RBI double. Hoskins comes across to score. It's a 5-1 game. The inability to throw strikes killed the Blue Jays today. Just crushed them. And that was it. The Jays had a couple opportunities to score runs early in the ball game. They couldn't do it. And they had a couple opportunities late. And again, they were down by 4, but they had 2 on and 1 out. I think it was in that in the last inning. I think they had 2 on in the 8th inning. Couldn't do anything with it. Couldn't hit with runners in scoring position at all today. And a total of 4 hits by the Blue Jays. So I can sit here and talk about how the walks were a problem and Mayza and Thornton weren't good and all that stuff. But in the end, your offense gave you 1 run on 4 hits. That's just not good enough. Right? You can't expect to win a ball game like that. Could you have? Definitely. If your guys threw strikes, you probably would have been fine. but they didn't. Now, as I always say in these videos, whether it's Blue Jays, Raptors, or Leafs, you won 3 straight. You've now lost the game. Great teams find a way to respond. What are we going to see from this team tomorrow? Is the offense going to come out against Aaron Nola going guns a-blazing and get their offense cooking because they always like to get up for big name pitchers? We'll have to see. And the pitcher for the Blue Jays is to be determined. So we don't know. It's probably a bullpen day for the Blue Jays tomorrow. Great. You know, and let's get to some stats here real quick before we talk about some injury update on Ryan Borucki and kind of preview tomorrow's game. The only 2 offensive players that really got anything done today was Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who went 2 for 4 in the ball game. That's great to see for him. I think one of his outs was an absolute screamer to center field. I think I could be wrong with that, but either way, he looked a lot more comfortable with the plate today, and that's great to see. Vladdy went 1 for 2 in the ball game, had the home run, and he walked twice as well. So a good day in the office there for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And on the mound, Steven Matz, as I mentioned, he gave the Jays a great outing today. 5 innings, 4 hits. He walked 3, but struck out 9. He was great, mixing his pitches, throwing strikes for the most part. And he did a job. He did a job. And Trent Thorne went an inning and 2/3, allowed 1 hit, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts, but he walked 2. And those 2 walks came back to kill him in the 7th inning. Tim Meza didn't get an out. Allowed 1 hit, and obviously, you know, he gave up 3 runs, and he walked 2 guys. Ugly last 2 outings there for Tim Meza. He has not been pretty there in the last 2 outings for him. And Beasley, we saw him for the first time this year. He went an inning and a third, allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, and got a strikeout, so a good job by him. And Joel Payamps went an inning, gave up a couple hits, but it didn't allow a run, and that's where the ball game ends. No offense, a really bad 7th inning, and you lose. That's the storyline in today's game. Now, as I mentioned, Ryan Borucki, of course, the injury bug continues to plague the Blue Jays as he hits the IL with a left flexor strain. Something to do with the elbow. Never a good sign with the elbow. And we also hear that Nate Pearson is going to miss his start due to some impingement, I think they called it, so in his shoulder, which is a scary thing with your shoulder. So, more great injury front news for the Jays. That's fantastic. But Game 2 of the 3-game set against the Philadelphia Phillies goes tomorrow night. It's a 7:37 first pitch there at TD Ballpark. Aaron Nola versus to be determined by the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 2 of the 3-game set. And as I mentioned, if the team can bounce back and get a W tomorrow and put this game to rest, that shows you that this team is legit. When a team can sweep a team, lose the first of another series, and come back with a win against their ace, Aaron Nola, that would show the character of the Toronto Blue Jays team. But we're going to have to wait and see what all plays out, though, guys, all right? So you know what? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and didn't enjoy the game today, but enjoyed Steven Matz, enjoyed, 8 of the 9 innings today, because you didn't enjoy the 7th. All right? Smack that like button to appreciate that. You guys hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already, guys. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the game. What'd you like, what'd you not like from today's ball game for the Toronto Blue Jays? What'd you think of that nasty 7th inning? I want to get your takes in the comments below. Twitter is down below for myself. Follow, send me a DM, do like great stuff. The Instagram link is down below, so follow up there if you have not done so already. And I will talk to you guys Raptors edition very shortly as they played their 2nd final game of the season as they lost to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll talk very shortly then. We'll talk to you guys Leafs edition either Tuesday or Wednesday for the round 1 preview between the Leafs and the Habs. And as for the Blue Jays, as I mentioned, they take on the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 2 of the 3-game set at TD Ballpark tomorrow night. Aaron Nola versus to be determined by the Toronto Blue Jays. 7:37 first pitch there. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll talk to you guys then.